We're now in game here, so head-to-head right now. Deer against Jaedong. One of these two players is about to be eliminated. The other is that much closer to reaching the pinnacle of his esports career. Introducing our players over here in the bottom left, the new school terrifying Protoss. Make some noise for Deer.
And his opponent spawning in the top right-hand position with a new school, unique style of Zerg versus Protoss. Is it enough to take down the timing attacks of his opponent? From Evil Geniuses, it's Jaedong. And I want to talk about the significance of this map in the rotation.
Please.
Map number 2, Whirlwind, huge, wide, big, open map. Jaedong is going to be favored. Map 3, Belshir Vestige, tight, tiny chokes, force fields, and timing attacks. Deer is going to be favored. Frost, same thing as before. It's going to be a little bit leaning towards Jaedong with the size. And the last map, Akalon Waste, definitely one of Deer's best and one of the best PvZ maps out there. Derelict Watcher, then, a lot is riding on this map.
When I look at this map, sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, each of them have like 2 maps in sets 2 to 5 that's going to be favoring them. So whoever gets this is going to have a huge momentum lead.
And what I was going to say is, when I look at this, I'm thinking Deer could do one of his timing attacks so well on this map.
Absolutely.
Just due to the way it's shaped, the distance between the second and the third, as well as the fact that the fourth can be like an unobtainable thing.
Yeah.
If the Zerg does not have the right momentum going into that.
Now, what's Jaedong doing with this scout? This is a really weird timing to go down. Generally, you scout early with a drone because you kind of want to be going for 3 hatch before pool. But look at this. Jaedong is sneaking a drone to the left here.
And he's parking it there. That's going to come into use a little bit later on. Meanwhile, the probe is coming up here to spot that everything is so far pretty standard here for Jaedong. Now, the drone does come in here, and he does see that the Protoss is walling in, and it looks like Deer's probe over at the third base should be able to deny the third for at least a little bit. Now, Zerg's already at 300 minerals, so every second that passes right now that the hatchery is not actually planted over here is a problem, and he does finally get it down, and the game will now continue to normalize.
And what's interesting to me is that there's a number of corners that you just cut that are scripted corner cuts. You scout the Zerg going for hatch first. Okay, you can't attack me very long. In that case, I'm going to throw down my assimilators first, my gateway first. I'm going to delay the cannon, because what do I need a cannon for? But Deer's being unusually conservative throwing that down. But there's another signal that we see out of Deer. He loves to do extremely thin stretch timings. We may very well see him expand to his third and go Stargate at the same time.
Yeah, he's done that before, and I think a lot of that, one of the reasons why he's able to get away with that is his placement is so perfect when he's taking that third and controlling that entire area. It's really something to be impressed by, because I know we had a lot of Protosses trying to do that in the past, and it's just not working. A lot of people, theorists, kind of concluding like, well, I mean, you can't really just get away with that, but he's managed to do it.
You know, it's one of those fun theory crafting things. We want to be like, well, if you place your buildings absolutely perfectly, you should be able to hold off all Zerg threats with 1 cannon, and it works only in Gold League and if you're Deer.
Exactly, and then if you're Deer, exactly.
I mean, even look at the cannon placement at the front of Deer's base, spaced back just enough to minimize.
one hex space over there on the left,
And notice that with this pylon, he can re-wall off with the pylon on the right and the gateway on the left. It's very particular spacing. He can even shove a rally from behind on the gateway there. Really subtle, tiny stuff.
And it's one of these things where every single structure, and then not even just in the wall, is premeditated here with Deer.
Wait, okay, this is already really weird. I mean, Jaedong's side of things looks normal. 3 hatches, teching up pretty normally. Hitting 6 minutes is a signal that gas is down for Jaedong. Great. But look at what we're seeing from Deer. An ultra-fast Stargate, and then an ultra-fast Robo Facility. I mean, normally we see a Robo Facility at like 8 minutes starting, and here it's going to be done before 7.
Yeah, and now he's going to go ahead and throw down the gateways. I believe he's about to get a 4th gateway warping in here. And notice, actually, where's the Phoenix rally to? Is he pulling that in his base, or is that actually going out? Okay, that is going out. And he's going to start eliminating Overlords. I thought he might be pulling that inside of his main for a second. But
is it going to be a Warp Prism?
Yeah, he's going for the Warp Prism. Okay. Now, this is not the most typical strategy on this map, that's for sure.
This is a very tactical, difficult build.
Yeah.
Use the Phoenixes to clear the vision. Once you have the vision cleared, you float a Warp Prism straight up into the main base and force field off the ramp. This is going to be an extremely tough push to hold off. And look at this, Jaedong is already making his intentions known with double Evolution Chamber. He's going for the long term. He's going for double upgrades.
And he might be punished for that. I mean, with the Phoenixes here, as you can see the location of the map he's trying to control, he's going to clear out a path towards the main. See, he should catch this Zergling here, or at least drive that out with the Zealot. And the Warp Prism, now this actually surprised me. I thought the Warp Prism was going to go through the top, you know, to follow with the Phoenixes, but instead now he's actually coming over here towards the third. I don't know if you're surprised with this, but I was expecting otherwise.
Yeah. Well, it's a two-step push. First, what you do is you can warp in right at the front, and you can make a judgment call. Do I want to go for the third? Or is it going to be juicy enough to head into the main? And Jaedong is just doing a very standard surprise timing attack. Or excuse me, Deer's doing a standard surprise timing attack, just unloading down here. +1 isn't done. This isn't going to be quite as strong, but it is still going to be quite a tough push for Jaedong.
The angling here for Jaedong is really good, and he can't get the Warp Prism over there to pick up those other Zealots. So Jaedong has completely deflected that attack now. And that is going to probably set Deer back quite a bit. You know, sometimes with the Zealots, you can get them in between, for instance, the Mineral and the Spore Crawler, or near hugging the hatchery, and it reduces the surface area for the Zealots. But in this case, not so much. He completely wiped out that attack, and the best that Deer can hope for is now to try to take out any drones or queens as well, in order to get an edge. And now it looks like Jaedong might be able to deny the third base from coming in here.
Oh my, okay, now first of all, exactly as you were sort of indicating with your tone, this is a weird play from Deer. It wasn't really seeming to work very well, and indeed it's not going to happen. 2 Hydrodens down for Jaedong. You think it's a mistake, but there's going to be double upgrades, range and speed for a Hydraless timing attack. He sees that his opponent went Phoenix. He sees that his opponent went Warp Prism, delaying the Colossus. So that means a Hydralisk mass upgraded timing push is going to catch Deer way off guard. And this third is almost certainly going to fall.
And he's making a creep highway, pushing directly towards that location. And, you know, one thing that we do know about, that we were talking about with Deer earlier, is that he does manage to, get that third up almost no matter what. Now, these Lings are going to come in here and possibly cause a cancel. We'll see. Is he going to do it? It looks like yes, he is. And he's going to have, no, excuse me, he's going to go actually right for the Zealots. He wants to make sure that he can't even take this location.
Oh, Nick, he's got +1 armor. Those Zealots aren't doing nearly enough damage to those Zerglings, and this is perfect. He's clearing out any threat that he can for when the Hydras roll in. Colossus has only just begun, and look at the Hydraless upgrades are finished. This is a genius timing push from Jaedong. He's pumping out Hydras and Lings as best he can. He's on 70 drones. Creep highways, only about a third of the way to the base. I don't even think it's going to matter. Colossus is going to be halfway done when the push arrives.
Yeah, and you know, with the Colossus, even if it gets out, okay, the distance between the second and the third is so far. Deer's response, oh my God, denied there. God. Deer's response was going to be to warp in here in the main, so that while Jaedong's defending this attack in the main, he's Deer is getting cannons up to defend. But these Hydras are barreling towards the third, and as I was saying before that attack happened, it looks like, you know, due to the distance between the third and the second, the Colossus is just going to get pinned. It's not going to be an easy position.
There's no good place for the Colossus to be. It's too spread out up on the high ground. Jaedong moving in with 21 Hydras, 40 Zerglings. We're seeing Deer retreat with the Mothership Core. Oh, hardly any sentries. 2 on the map. The third is entirely exposed.
Oh, okay, he's going to come up here from behind and try to hit these Hydras. Note he is targeting a Nexus right now. He wants to make sure that that is eliminated.
And well, down it goes.
There he goes. Takes it out. And he will continue to crank out more and more units. Notice the Spire is about to finish. He's got a good amount of gas stocked up here. We could see a switch into air very quickly that could put Deer in a lot of trouble.
A peculiar move from Jaedong, target firing the Nexus. He lost so much there.
Yeah, I thought he was going to engage full on, but he did get the Nexus. That does cause a big hiccup economically to Deer. And now Deer's going to try to push out, and this makes sense. He's saying, okay, I took a lot of damage. I have to see if I can do something now with my army. We have 8 Corruptors on the way, and that definitely will be able to take care of the air army. And then we'll have to see if Deer can micro perfectly or get anything done with this ground army. You can see he's taking out the creep tumors. He's not full on engaging the bases because clearly this is an uncomfortable position. So he takes that out. He noticed Jaedong's army didn't engage him at all there in the middle of the map, so he just decides, okay, I'm going to back up. We're going into first person now. Here's what it is to be in the eyes of Jaedong right now, or see through the eyes of Jaedong right now. And we see the Corruptors are now pushing back the rest of these Phoenixes. Jaedong is not only got his 4th base up, but his 5th base over in the bottom right. This is really bad right now for Deer.
I mean, this is exactly the Jaedong that's been powering up and looking so successful in WCS Season 2 Grand Finals. He takes so many bases, he sticks on layer tech for so fast, and in general, it shouldn't work very well. It's an extremely easy way to see the Zerg, funnel him into building too many roaches, and then crushing him with a max army. But here, we're seeing Jaedong. He's just chilling at around 141 supply. Look at that. He has the money. He has the larva. Jaedong has some of the best mechanics in all StarCraft 2. This is not an error. He's going to wait and see what Deer does.
Well, you know what's interesting about this is he could have gotten maxed out. He could have actually filled up, you know, on a massive ground army with the Corruptors and tried to win with the timing, but he saw the advantage, and he decided he's just going to get as ahead economically as humanly possible. You can see the supplies are actually pretty close when Zerg can actually get maxed out much quicker. But now the problem is, how in the hell is Deer going to get his 4th base? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is an almost impossible map to get the 4th. That's why most Protosses try to get the 3rd up so fast, because that's really the only guaranteed gas you get is those geysers 5 and 6 at the 3rd. And Jaedong has used that amount of time, that calm, patient mode, allowing him to get up 16 Mutalisks. But is it going to be enough? The push is coming up. This is Deer's specialty, striking Mutalisks before the momentum gets going. And a Warp Prism at the top left side there to assault the other 4th.
By the way, the Zerg did see with the Changeling that those are hallucinated Colossi, so that ruse is not going to work. The Observer's now allowing them to continue to tear through the creep highway, and it looks like, are we going to see a massive counter? We could end up in a base trade here. This is going to get really weird, really quick.
Jaedong opting to do the base trade, sacrificing his main, his natural, his second. He has the bases far spread out in the corner. It's a desperation chrono boost to get those Phoenixes out. The Phoenix count is at only 2, and now Zerglings are streaming in there. Cannons being flooded by Deer up at his 3rd base, and that is going to be absolutely pivotal. Jaedong is going to be in an absolutely atrocious position if Deer has even 1 base up and held.
Now, this is the problem for the base trade right now. By the way, this Nexus is going to be not taken out. Okay, I almost said the opposite there until I saw he pulled back some of his army. But with the Protoss going into the main right now, he's taking out all the critical tech structures, which means if Jaedong doesn't rebuild the tech, he can't even make like Zerglians. He has to get everything back together now. Now, Jaedong's air army is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the anti-air is actually spread out all over the map. This may be a base trade that Jaedong will win.
Jaedong is already making better decisions right now. 30 Mutalisks, 9 Corruptors versus essentially 21 Stalkers, and that's it. But a lot of the Stalkers are still chilling up in the main base, and you know what that means. Deer has them isolated in the wrong place at the wrong time. Zerglings still in Deer's main base. This is actually looking very good for Jaedong.
Jaedong, I think, has got this. I mean, granted, both these guys have bases that are in shambles. The Mutas are fast enough they can clean up everything else. And by the way, he's still able to make Mutas, so he has a Spire somewhere on the map. I don't know where exactly. It looks like it's in the bottom right there. And this is just, I think, checkmate at this point in time here, with Jaedong probably going to win game 1. Now, this base is not penetrable, but I don't foresee the Protoss being able to expand outside of that for a long time.
Oh, Jaedong might be overestimating his advantage. He's
he needs to back out of there for sure.
Only annihilating 1 Arcana, good trade, but needs to back up. And look at Jaedong being so sharp with that Mutalisk control, whipping around, immediately picking off the front line of Stalkers. 14 are on the map and nothing else. And we're beginning to see those hatcheries pop up at where the bases once were. What's going to be Jaedong's follow-up? We don't know yet, because his spawning pool is still down. Zerglings also assaulting the probes that are still long-range mining, and Deer is mounting another assault up at this top base, but not a lot of drones remain.
You know, the question is, can the Mutas and Lynx come in here for a counterattack? Because what Deer's doing is he's completely abandoning that 1 base in the hopes that if he has enough Archons with this army, he can take on the Mutas. So Jaedong will not engage whatsoever. Then you can see Jaedong's not entirely sure if he can take out the base of Deer and still win a fight with his army. So He hasn't made his move just yet. He's still trying to gather up. You know, one thing that Jaedong did very well here was hold that thought. I'll get to that in a second.
And it looks like the Archons did manage to do some pretty good hits to those Mutalisks, but it was not enough. And all of a sudden, Deer is losing the periphery of his base. Those gas units are so essential. I mean, essentially, it's one Archon every 80 seconds. So if you kill 2 of those are full minutes.
You know, one of the things that's so good about what Jaedong did for planning, or we probably saw like 8 minutes ago or so, is when he was taking his 5th and 4th, he took them in opposite spots on the map. So this death ball of Deer has to either go to the top, take that out, and then go all the way to the bottom, which makes it really difficult for Deer, despite how well he's playing, to actually stamp out the resource gathering from Jaedong.
Well, it looks like Deer spotted the key base down at the bottom side. Archon shots connect nicely with the Corruptors, and they don't have that bonus healing that the Mutalisks do. Right now, it's all up to this push to take down this expansion. Jaedong is pulling himself back around the Xel'Naga Watchtower. We see that the Spine Crawlers are going to be up at the front lines, and how is Deer going to engage it? Is Jaedong actually going to elect to fight this?
Well, if he can get the Archon at the right angle here.
Oh my God! One Archon falls, second Archon gets target fired, but it's getting absolutely massive shots, takes them down. 29 Mutalisks versus 13 Stalkers.
That's gonna do it.
GG. Jaedong takes an impressive game 1 on the key map.
Sick.
Attack, Warp Gate, Stalker, second Stalker, and Mothership Core. This is looking very much so like a Warp Gate timing out of Deer. He's probably going to be going for a fast third base. Oh, there it is, yeah. And then this way, he can follow it up with gateways to defend while still pressuring Jaedong. This is what you were talking about before, Nick, with Deer being the guy who attacks and expands and techs all at the same time, impossibly.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say I wasn't sure because I want to look really cool while I'm casting this, and I want to be like, I think that pylon blocks the Nexus, but okay, so that did block the Nexus. I should just trust my instincts. So, yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a delay there to get the structures up at the third base. But now the Lings are getting a surround here. Looks like the Stalker is actually going to get pinned.
What a defense! And there it is. Jaedong snaps it down. And you know, Jaedong seems to be the only player who can pull this off with hardly an interruption to his drone production. Gets just the right amount of slow Lings to thwart a fairly aggressive Protoss attack. Jaedong's creep between the 2 bases already joining up. Three gateway units
so bad
biting the dust.
He needs those gateway units to really help defend that third.
Yes.
I mean, you can make cannons, but you actually have to have some mobility with that defense. To clog entry points and occasionally even bait out Lings that might be outside that point. We have, 2 more gateways and, 2 Stargates on the way.
It's a pair of Stargates out of Deer.
That's interesting.
Now, there's 2 very strongly different ways to play this off. It's all going to be what the first units to come out are. If it's double Phoenix production, then expect a slightly more passive ground mixture. Something a little more robo-focused, but there's the Phoenixes coming down. This is a tough way to play. It's very, very fragile. You don't have do a lot of damage to the ground.
Wait, now, he spots both.
Oh, and he sees that there's Phoenixes there. Jaedong now has a tremendous edge in this game.
I gotta say, I wonder if it would have been better to have the Stargates in different spots. They're right next to each other, so if he gets to one, he's most likely going to get to another one, especially at this phase of the game. So, yeah, now Jaedong has the ability to respond to this. And, with this situation is just really bad for Deer. Deer has not gotten a break so far in the series.
Now, Deer is the only player I would trust to do this. Look at that. Complete halt on the Stargate production. I mean, normally it's mass Phoenix production with a robo defense.
That's pretty badass. He actually is not going to continue with this tech route despite investing a lot into it.
Yeah, I mean, this is 2 Stargates as his second and third unit production structure, and it looks like Deer is scouting around, spotting everything, and somehow Jaedong seems to be sniffing out the weakness throughout all of this. Jaedong getting infestors, getting the missile attack upgrade, pathogen glands. He's expanding. He's not even building many spore crawlers. He's adding on queens because he's preparing for a hive tech switch. We'll have plenty of transfuse for ultras.
Man, these guys are responding so well off of each other. They're reading each other so incredibly well. I do, however, think it's going to be just so difficult for Deer to really get any headway because look, even though he stopped the Phoenix production, and that's really smart, it's obvious that Deer stopped the Phoenix production because the Phoenix numbers aren't growing, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like there's some secret here. It's smart that he switched out of it because it wasn't going to work anyways, but there's no element of surprise here for what Deer can do next.
So Zergling's going to dart into the third, see a couple of extra gateways going down. Zergling's going to dart into the natural, see a whole lot of defense there. What is Jaedong's play? He has plenty of infestors. I actually think that the key upgrade that Jaedong needs to not miss is the Neural Parasite. He's going to have so many infestors that they're not going to be as strong against the army that's going to be hurled at him, which is a speed zealot Colossus. It's like as anti-infestor an army as humanly possible.
He is gathering up these zealots now. Now, he may wait until the Zerg leaves his base, or he may go in right now. It really just depends on how he's going to approach this. If he sees the Zerg army leaving, well, he doesn't have much of a spot for that. But if he does see an army leaving, he'll send that Warp Prism in. That looks like the way he's going to go from here. Now we have the Phoenixes taken out, and it is lights out right now, excuse me, for Deer. I mean, he does not have any scouting on the map. He doesn't have anything. He has nothing right now. And this puts Deer intel-wise into a nightmare.
Oh yeah, you just gotta guess. You just gotta say, I hope Zealots are the best unit in the game, and he's just gonna be making Zealots right now. Getting the Templar Archives for the transition into the natural Zealot Archon switch, but look at this. Jaedong waited patiently, waited, was up to almost 40 larvae, and now boom, 11 swarm hosts coming up. He's been preparing this transition. He has tons of queens on the field, 12 queens, 8 infestors, and soon enough, a big old pack of swarm hosts. I mean, he is going to be in perfect condition to transition to any hive tech and to continue to delay the game. Zerglings have spotted all the expos. There's no threat. Uh-oh.
Oh, I love this. He's doing the fake. He's setting out all these overlords that are actually empty to make it look like there's going to be a drop, which just baits the Warp Prism in here, which will take care of easily.
Warp Prism still manages to stay alive. There's the burrow on the swarm host. In the meantime, we see large Zealot Colossus attack moving in. Warp Prism is in the natural.
He's going to clean up these Zealots, no problem. Another warping over here inside the second now.
Oh no!
But he's going to pick up. The attack now is coming up over here in the front from Deer. 172 supply to 193. These the swarm hosts are going to have to back up. There's too many Colossi.
Oh my god, the infestors are in the worst place humanly possible. They are on the opposite side of the swarm host. Jaedong's going to lose it all.
Jaedong has been pinned right now. Now, he does have a lot of infestors coming out here, but the swarm hosts, I mean, losing these is you spent so much money getting this.
Oh my god, but look at this. The queen count is high enough that he's starting to pick off the Colossus queens, taking the Colossus down. Jaedong, how did you pull this one off?
You know, that was really impressive because, oh my god, nice fungals here.
No.
He's going to catch the remainder of the army, which, although they're all losing important tech units, you know, Deer, it takes a long time to get those Colossus out, or Colossi, I should say, out, because they're all being incremented out from a robo, whereas for the Zerg, you know, they just make them out of the larva.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Jaedong with an economic edge here can still recoup much easier here than Deer can.
Here's what I love about Deer. In the midst of that attack that was going absolutely haywire, it's unclear if the attack was good or bad or how to even evaluate it, but Deer got a base up behind it, and that always means that your attack was a stunning success. And right now, it's been a massive tech switch from Jaedong. He had 50 larvae stockpiled throughout that whole attack. He spams the R button, and we're going to see 25 roaches join the fray.
Okay, he's got to be careful. If he gets snapped by these infestors, a time warp comes down here. He did zone out those corruptors pretty well with the Archons. This is 4 Colossi. This is nothing to laugh at. And he's coming up here now, but there's a good amount of roaches out here now. He doesn't have to engage that Protoss army. If the Protoss wants to do anything, it has to engage into the Zerg, and this bottleneck, it causes a real problem here for him.
Yeah, I mean, how does Deer continue to engage here? He's warping in Stalkers to try to get reinforcements. Oh, sick fungal growths again. But the Archons have managed to rip down all the Corruptors. It's basically going to be roaches against one of the best anti-roach armies out there.
Deer actually is going to get in there, it looks like. And even though we have a maxed out Jaedong, I don't know if it's going to be enough. There's just enough anti-air. The Corruptors are going to have a hard time wiping out these Colossi. And the Colossi are really where they're countering the rest of this army.
How is Deer pulling this one off?
I can't believe he's actually pulling this off. I cannot believe this just happened.
GG, Deer takes game 2 on Jaedong's prime map. What an odd series of moves out of Deer.
I can't believe that the game actually ended like that. When you think of a Zerg with swarm hosts, you know, like it maxed out, and all he has to do is turtle, and the Protoss, you know, lost a good amount of tech in that initial engagement.
Yeah.
This is really turning out to be, I think, so far the best series I've seen.
I mean, especially in terms of the strategy of that last game, because you look at the situation that Jaedong was in that game, like you said, getting up the swarm host, and I actually think that Jaedong wasn't 100% dead at the end of that game, but you can just feel the frustration when the single
he
warp
wasn't
prism...
100% dead, but he's 100% pissed about how that game went. I mean, that was definitely a frustrating twist to that end, you know?
Yeah, the fact that his swarm host got separated from the infestor queen.
And I think he lost a lot of, it was very subtle, he lost a lot of corruptors, you know, here and there, which it could have added up to a lot more, which he would have had just the muscle to push through and kill the Colossi no matter what. Because, you know, once the Colossi are gone, Zerg can usually on 4 bases just make enough to probably drive in, especially if they have any swarm hosts at all. But that was a narrow victory there by Deer. Really impressive stuff. I don't know, man. I mean, what do you think about this next game?
I mean, right now, I give Deer a strong favorite going into Belshir Vestige. I love his timing attacks on here. He tends not to go Stargate. He doesn't mess around. He masses up gateways, gateway units, and strikes at very weak moments. It's going to be up to Zerg. It's going to be up to Jaedong to be the one bringing the noise back, to be staying on layer tech longer and being more efficient with the traditionally inefficient units, the Hydras, the Roaches, the Corruptors.
All right, guys, let's get loud in here. In the bottom right, we have our Protoss player. I can barely believe he won that last game. His ID is Deer.
And up in the top left-hand corner, had a clear edge in the last game, but fell short to a single tactical error. Can he play perfect in game 3? From Evil Geniuses, it's Lee Jaedong.
These guys have both been playing so well so far. It's interesting to see that Jaedong is just, that last game he played so well. I'm still a little bit shocked Deer won.
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit weirded out by it. But, you know, for Deer to win after being put at a disadvantage by losing those early game units, and then his double star game getting spotted, right?
Yeah.
And then he has to switch out of that, and it's cross spots on Whirlwind. And he won with a push. I'm like, okay, that's pretty sick.
Well, you know, one of the things that you just can't ever discount is the edge that really economy gives you. He got that third up so early, and that gave him the opportunity to make those mistakes and to be able to afford it. Oh my God, Jaedong isn't going to spot it. Jaedong's going to get cannon rushed. Oh my God, there it is. And there's no pool.
There's no pool. This is a disaster. This is really bad right now. Jaedong, what he's doing right now is he's going for heavy econ. Now, if you're a StarCraft newbie and you haven't seen this before, and he sees the Forge, by the way, you can set up these buildings so it's really hard to surround this cannon, and that's exactly what he's doing right here.
Uh-oh, you know.
Let's see if the drones can get over here in time. The probe is going to come over here and just do a little bit of harass just to try to bait out some drone hits.
Now, Jaedong's going to try to pick this off, but there is a drone from Jaedong down at the south side. He may try to block Deer's expansion. This is a really good angle for Jaedong.
Oh my God, is he going to get that one?
Is he going to get it? Is he going to get it?
Cancel. He gets a cancel.
He's got one. He's got one cancel going down. Can he get a second one?
It looks like he's going to get the next one.
And it looks like Jaedong is going to be able to get all the cancels down.
Well, this really sucks for Deer right now because he deflected that rush. I mean, I know the workers weren't mining, but the amount he invested in there to end the game immediately, the failure of that is huge.
You know, I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm starting to wonder how detrimental this was to Deer. I mean, the biggest thing that he cut was probes for a little bit, but he still has the probe lead, 23-20. In terms of total resources lost from damage, just 111. Just a couple of cancels, and soon enough a pylon. I mean, if Jaedong was able to get in there and block the Nexus going down, that would have been something special.
Yeah, that is very true. The Nexus not blocked. He can't really be punished as much. It looks like now he's going to try to buy some time here. Now let's see how long he can actually delay this. If there's a possibility of him even planting a pylon here, and it is. Okay, that's a great move under these circumstances here, because the Zerg does not have a lot of Zerglings out, and there's not really a lot he can do about this pylon over here in the upper right. And Zerg doesn't want to get his expansions too far spread out, because obviously Deer's pretty good with those timing attacks. In fact, I wonder if he may even loop around here with this probe and try to make something else. Let's see if he does it.
You know, I'm real curious how Jaedong's going to be able to pull back. The more that this game goes on, the more clear it is that Deer has a nice lead. Deer could have begun his usual gateway pressure, but no, he's opting for a Stargate, which generally, seeing his history, indicates that Deer is intending to take a pretty swift third base. We even see a hint of that as Deer's only taken one extra geyser.
Yeah, well, you know, with Jaedong just trying to get the third base up and running, that being delayed by so much, and I love this Zealot coming out here now. He just wants Deer to make some more Zerglings.
Oh, yeah.
Anything to slow down drone production. He's already triggered that. 4 Zerglings now on the way. Let's see if he can actually creep a probe over there to actually take that third pretty soon.
Well, there's a single evolution chamber going down in terms of the options that Jaedong has. Very likely he's going to go for kind of a typical mid-game defense, getting +1 range attack, going for Roach Hydra, not doing his usual save up, and probably trying to be a little bit more aggressive and a little less passive, so that way he can hopefully deny Deer a third base. If he can deny Deer a third base, there's really only 3 or 4 mixes that Deer can go for.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if he can deny that, then it's going to dictate Deer as not being in, you know, a position to transition properly. But this is another thing that's funny about this game is you play so much StarCraft, right? You're so used to like this routine where the game always goes the way that you have expected it to, and if you don't, okay, you switch out to plan B. But when you have a failed cannon rush and the Zerg, the tempo of the Zerg is now off, you know, it's just really difficult to now have the feel here. Now these guys are very good, so they're going to be better than most, but it's still a frustrating moment. As you're going to have to read everything perfectly. We got Phoenix is now cleaning up these overlords, and it looks like he's basically getting. Wait, he's getting every single overlord on the map. I mean, that's not inside the base here, so that's going to really make it difficult for Jaedong to get any more reads here.
Great traditional move that we're seeing come straight out of Deer. Clear the vision, get the basic defensive units, and expand. It's going to be an attempted 10-minute expand. Deer's going to be expanding while his robo facility starts. What does Jaedong do to answer? It's going to be hard, because look at how pulled back to the defense Jaedong has to be with 5 Phoenixes on the map. He's going for range first, not for speed. That's a very defensive upgrade. He can attempt a Ling Hydra push and transition into Spire, but still, look at the damage that Deer's laying down.
Yeah, well, you know, because of the weird way this game came out, there was not a ton of spore crawlers that Jaedong could make, so those Phoenixes are probably going to continue to do lots of damage, as we're seeing here. Well, I really wonder, actually, if Jaedong can ever do that push effectively that you were talking about, you know? I mean, he's going to lose so many drones. We even see now a stray Overlord getting hit.
Well, right now, the intentions for Deer have been made clear just simply by the probe count. Deer doesn't mess this up yet. Oh! Whoa! A sort of odd, overbold move there by Deer. The Phoenixes are actually quite important all game long for scouting, for spotting when the 4th is, for clearing out vision at these watchtowers, and of course, preventing the Zerg from getting a little overeager about the Mutalisk transition, and a second one goes down. Stop doing that, Deer. Those are so important. Mutalisks are Jaedong's linchpin play.
Yeah, if he doesn't have enough Phoenixes out to zone out the Mutas, it is a serious problem. And now we see the armor upgrade is coming into play here, the speed for the Lings. I don't know if Deer's going to be able to be stopped from his expansion getting up here, but at the same time, Jaedong can't really be touched as easily either. Now we see the Protoss moving out here. That's not him preparing to attack right away. What he's doing is he's trying to generate the imagery of an attack to maybe pressure this Zerg into not making drones.
And what's really cool is that Jaedong's bringing Overseers to try to pick off Observers. Has already gotten one, and we see that the second one has withdrawn very far into the base. Deer's now marching forward a little bit blind with these Phoenixes. Overlords are puking creep at the natural expansion by a Spire.
And it looks like he's going to go for the 5th base here. This is what reminds me a lot of like Jaedong and StarCraft 1, the tempo of when he's expanding.
Through the roof, yeah.
Yeah, it's very Brutal-esque, but we'll see if he's going to be okay doing it. Again, Deer just kind of moving out, trying to clear up anything that's right outside of his base. The Hydras, are they actually going to come around here for a possible counter? Well, that's not going to work with him. The Phoenix is spotting him.
Uh-oh.
So he's going to go ahead and go back.
Hydras are going to get caught in the middle of the map.
Now, you didn't get any force fields up to trap those Hydras just yet. Well, there's that one. And he actually is going to do the Hydra counterattack over here at the bottom left.
Funky little move. He's going to try to continue to pick off Phoenixes. He gets one, and he's getting a lot of value out of these Hydras at the bottom side.
Meanwhile, over here at the Zerg's 4th, Jaedong's 4th, the hatchery will 100% be taken out. There's just nothing else that can be done about this. But I don't know. Actually, I almost don't like the position Jaedong got himself in here.
Well, he's got 15 Mutalisks on the way, Nick.
Well, we'll see if he can warp in enough Stalkers to hold it, though. I really wonder if the Deer just doesn't go back home and you know, regroup. We'll see, though. It depends on where he pushes and how fast he runs. And in fact, you know, he may be just too late. It looks like he's just going to get caught off guard there.
Well, it looks like it's a
oh no, he actually recalled.
Main,
excuse me, yeah. I was like, where'd that go? So he recalled back into the main here, and he's regrouped. Jaedong's going for mass mutas right now with a lot of lings, which makes sense. You can do that mineral dump with all of those lings.
Oh, the Twilight Council's exposed. This means that most of this army's going to be pinned, and where's Jaedong have his eyes set? To the 3rd base. We're seeing Ling Hydra group up there, and Jaedong doesn't want to let that big army stray far from the main.
All right, so the Mutas are now going to regroup up here with the Lings. Now, this Protoss army is definitely what I'm now calling nimble. Yeah, but is he going to be able to save his Colossus? No! He does!
A very dicey move. 18 Mutalisks out. That number needs to be high. Another expansion goes down for Jaedong. He has already admitted his game plan with these moves. And he is going for the base trades.
This is a very gutsy move here by Jaedong. So many hatches here right now. But again, with the Mutas coming out here, Protoss is pinned so hard to his base. I mean, Mutas are like the effective harassing units. They can just get out, they can get anywhere. And I wonder if the sand is running out of the hourglass here for Deer.
Well, Deer has already managed to find enough funds to sneak out a second Stargate, to get his warp gate count only to 6, but has Blink 4 cannons in the main base, more gateways coming out. I mean, it is just immaculate play from the Protoss Deer.
By the way, yeah, 27 Mutas now. Now, if he controls these perfectly, these Phoenixes, he can do a lot of damage to these Mutas, but Jaedong does have the best Muta micro in the world, so that's a tall order.
Oh, counterattack from Ling!
He didn't actually get that clogged up the entrance. Meanwhile, it is going to be another base trade here. Deer is now headed northbound with his army.
Oh my God, Jaedong, the king of counters, sweeping in Hydras, Lings, Mutas, all storm in the front. See you later, cannons. The probes might be next, but look at the great splits from Deer. He is not going to let this game go on long either.
He is now, okay, Deer is now going into the second. This is a smart move. He needs to go to the main to reset the tech tree here for Jaedong. But I'm a little bit worried because the damage output and the speed of this entire air and ground army right now for Jaedong should be able to wipe out the Protoss bases so quickly.
Right now, Jaedong needs to throw down spines. He needs to pick a base, spine it up now. We're seeing the splits are amazing from Deer. He's annihilating the main, the natural, the 3rd, and now the 4th. He's pulled most of the Stalkers back all the way to the 3rd base. Can Jaedong get this angle? He needs 26
You know what?
Mutas.
I think he can blink in here, though, on top of that. And if Jaedong loses the Mutas, he loses the game because the Mutas are what allow him to defend all of these other locations. Now, there doesn't seem to be much anti-air over here for these other bases that are under attack, but really,
gosh.
these guys both these guys have their bases are in shambles right now.
But at the same time, 19 drones for Jaedong. 19. And we're seeing Deer try to step up, trying to take out this other base, and is very likely to succeed at this point in time. There's very little defenses. Deer is being a genius at keeping track of where the mutas are.
He's going to clean up these Colossi here. This is a really nice move. By the way, can we do a vision check here? Does Deer actually know about the base in the bottom right? He has. Okay, this is really bad, though. If he doesn't know about that, it means his decision-making is going to be off. Well, he's going to assume that the only functional base is the upper right one. Well, we'll have to see what happens. As long as he can keep a few extra hatches alive elsewhere, then he won't become suspicious when he realizes that there's nothing there. And he's okay. Hold on.
No, he's heading up to that top side.
He has no idea. And the fact that the upper left main hatch is still alive means even if he kills this hatch, Deer is going to default assume that the upper left base is the only thing left because of how it would reveal normally. In fact, this is a smart move. Is he making a pool over there in the upper right?
Yep.
That is actually to make it look like there's no way that he has another base down here in the bottom right. That's not even a mistake.
That's a great, tricky desperation play. The drones are running south.
The drones.
The traitor drones.
Oh no, the AI sent the drone south. But I don't know if that tipped Deer off just yet.
Deer is playing this off as perfectly as a base trade game can be played. Jaedong continuing to keep his armies split, continuing to keep everything spread apart. Only 12 Stalkers.
But you know, the Archons are, I think, the real scary factor.
Oh, yes, definitely. There's the blink. A nice possible pickup from Jaedong. He needs to begin annihilating Stalkers, not the buildings.
Yeah, the Stalkers are so important. Stalkers, Archons together, really scary. You know, he's getting these mutas out, but when you're going mass muta like this, you want to have way more bases. You want to have like such an income that you can just crank out mutas at a ridiculous rate.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, does he know? Does he know yet? Is he going to find out?
He's
okay, now hold on.
Skirting past
okay, hold on. Is he going to go? Is he going to go? No, did that tip him off?
It looks like it didn't. The traitor, Jaedong now moving with his Mutalisk. He runs headlong into a photon overcharge. Does he have a backup Spire? No, that is the only Spire Jaedong has on this map.
I think Jaedong is well, actually, I think he might lose here. This is actually so close, it's difficult to call. The mutas are going to take out the second base. Let's do a mineral check here. How many minerals are at the Protoss' third base? That's been up for a long time.
Well, looks like
there's actually a lot there, so he's not going to mine out there anytime soon.
Well, 2 more Archons are en route. Jaedong, with a lucky pickup, manages to pick off a single Archon. A couple of free Stalkers, pulls out safely. He is taking some serious hits with those Mutalisks, but guess what? The regeneration is excellent. And oh my God, be careful, Jaedong. How does he control that well? 10 Stalkers remain, 22 mutas.
Okay, so the mutas are going to run away now. And again, all that Jaedong, remember, in StarCraft 2, all you have to do is eliminate the other guy's buildings.
Yes.
If you just kill all their buildings, the game does end.
Taking some serious hits. Secondary blink.
He's actually, those mutas are getting just too bruised at this point in time. And I don't think there's anything to stop Deer at this point in time from just continuing to run over the rest of what Zerg has. I mean, can the mutas wipe out all of these bases right away? And for Protoss, not as quick as this Protoss army can. There's enough Protoss defense at those bases. I believe the next move here is for him to simply go to that final base and this game ends. Zerg doesn't have enough gas banked up. There's just not much he can really do. You can see he's going for the Templar Archives. That's the right mindset, but it's not going to do enough to turn the tides of this game right now.
Too little, too late.
Yeah,
Jaedong,
too little, too late.
Jaedong must decide where he wants to engage, when he wants to engage.
Okay, this is going to be the end here, unless somehow these mutas are split so perfectly that they can wipe out this army. I just don't see how on earth.
Oh, Jaedong was so close in this game. I mean, Jaedong's still running every which way. He is going to throw down a hatch at the far right side, but his drones are pinned. They get picked off. He's finding free zealots here and there. If he can maybe get so lucky And there's a few units that just get so distracted, but right now with 8 Archons and 15 Stalkers, what control can he pull off?
Yeah, I mean, it would be Deer having to make a mistake at this point, not Jaedong making a brilliant play. I mean, there's just not much else he can do. He's going to try to get another hatchery up here, and I note that is the last hatchery he can make. He has 30 minerals, and his, as you can see, his economy is completely stagnant right now. So he sends me this up here. Now, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, but if Jaedong were to actually deny this from here, I mean, the Archons are just going to be bunched too close together. This should bring us down to game 4. GG. There it is, GG. Wow.
3 games in a row, we've seen Jaedong pull crazy tech switches here and there, and especially rely on the mass muta transition, but Deer shuts it down again in game 3.
Scouted perfectly by the Zerg, then the Zerg is ahead and wins. But enough about that. The map is now loading up. Let's get hyped, people. Game number 4 here between Deer and Jaedong. We may be just 1 game away from seeing the end of Jaedong for this year of the WCS Global Finals. Or we may be just 1 game away from going on to the final game between these two. But either way, only one player will move on. The other, well, their story ends here.
Spawning down in the top right-hand corner against the ropes in all 3 of the last games.
All right, spawning in the upper right corner is our Zerg player. He is Jaedong.
And his opponent down in the bottom right-hand corner has been up against the rope in all 3 games, but has pulled 2 amazing victories. Might be able to close it out here and be one of the first semifinals of this event. Can he do it from Seoul? It is Deer. Look at this, Nick. It's gonna be, looks like a gateway in Maine.
It looks to be just that. Deer, I gotta go back on this again because it's so weird that he's been scouted so well by Jaedong. And he's still winning.
Spotting everything on point.
The game number 2 on Whirlwind, where Deer has nothing outside of his base but a warp prism and still manages to outmaneuver Jaedong. That is insane.
I mean, I think Deer is exploiting what I'd call like hidden potential. Just a warp prism. Not a big deal, not a huge investment from the Protoss side of things, just 200 minerals, but it's a tremendous threat for a Zerg player that doesn't have a mobile army. And then, of course, when Jaedong makes a little slight error, it's what totally catches him off guard. Same thing with the Mothership Core. Could be that everything's coming home, but you never really know. It's that always threat of the warp-in versus the destruction of the main, and that's what keeps catching Jaedong off when he goes to these base trades. But here, these are the vertical positions that I was mentioning that I have no idea who's going to come out on top in this spot. Jaedong going 3 hatch before pool. I like it.
All right, the probe is coming up now, and he'll be able to identify that, yeah, this is the 3 hatch. Jaedong's greedy. He wants to get a lead here. And he sees the spawning pool going down here as well. Do you think Deer is possibly just going to go for a Stargate again?
No,
You think he's actually going to lean away from it? Because we've seen Stargate, so some Stargate dependency throughout the series, but
I'm leaning mostly towards a 2-base timing here.
2-base timing on this map?
Oh
my God!
My goodness!
Deer
gets spotted right away, but
the angling here
doesn't matter.
The angling here,
he's got to keep close. He's got to stay. He's got to stay tight on there.
Now, hold on.
Oh no!
This is really intense. Okay, the architecture. Okay, cancels. I was gonna say the architecture in that location is one where if he could just get the right pylons up in the right spots and the cannons warping at the right time in the right place. I mean, Zerg just loses that spot, but.
Well, looks like Jaedong is getting a good scout up in the main base. Probe advancing forward. Triple Queen production. Instantly, no links at all. But same story on the Protoss front. No cannon at all. You know, I'm really leaning more towards a 2-base timing push out of Deer. At the very least, a Robo expand to the 3rd. But this is a map where that 12-minute timing is very threatening. The double Colossus, double Immortal, warp or gateway push.
Yeah, and you know, with a push like that, you can attack the second or the third, which causes this problem for the static defense of the Protoss. You have to run the spine crawlers back and forth, and then route them and get them in position. So this is going to be interesting. He does have one probe hidden out on the map.
Yeah, there's the hidden probe, and there's the Stargate too. Okay,
so he is going to go for a Stargate build. Now let's see what kind of Stargate build that may be. He is just with no pylon out here yet, although that might be a little bit too soon for him to actually put that down. He does back up though. Looks like he's checking to see if the creep is, he's trying to connect the creep towards the second and the third, or if he's trying to push the creep out, you know, because that could be another big factor for what, you know, if you attack and then how you attack.
That's a fantastic point, because Deer is the sort of person who doesn't plan specific attacks or plan specific defensive styles. He's looking for opportunities, and when he spots it, he goes all in on those opportunities. You'll see him go, uh-oh, no creep tumor, well, great. 4 warp gates, pylon, go. And he knows that there's no way that the Zerg can deflect.
Okay, so he sees the creep is now spreading up towards the third base, which I think is probably the best, safest way to play. And the Phoenix just going to start clearing up Overlords. Notice Jaedong does not spread out a ton of his Overlords on the map against Deer. He keeps most of them inside of his main set back there.
Zergling speed not really that close to being done, only just recently getting started. Roach Warren, Evo Chamber, it's looking like a standard mid game, but keep in mind, Jaedong did go triple hatch first, so that means that he has a huge, huge economic boon. I mean, look at this. There's hardly any gateways out for Deer. He's only half done with his gateways, 2, 3, and 4. Third being spotted for Jaedong, same story with the other third, but in my eyes, the big question is, when are we gonna see 3 more gateways go down? Or is Deer gonna be expanding?
Phoenix is, as usual, just shaving off drones here and there. We'll see how much more of those he can actually get. Occasionally we see situations where they kill enough drones, they just keep making Phoenixes because you just cannot stop the drones from continuously being killed. I don't think Jaedong's going to let that happen, but that's just something to watch out for. Link speed about to finish. And that Robo Bay for the Protoss and the +1 attack upgrade winding up here as well.
Mothership Core clears out the third probe, joins on in to throw down in ultra-fast Nexus. There's the Spire again. I think Jaedong, I mean, what do you think about Jaedong's psychological state right now? He's throwing down the Spire. Do you think this is him going, all right, I've gotten a lead 3 games in a row, and the Spire's my ace play. I'll do it again here, and I'll just make sure it works. Or do you think that's a sign of weakness there? That he's feeling anxious and falling back on Spire?
I feel as though he just thinks that getting the Spire play is going to counter whatever Deer is doing. We do have the Nexus now. It looks like it's going to finish here. The Phoenix is just cleaning up the remainder of any drones they can with energy they have to pick up with. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Sean, I feel like he's just most comfortable with, he's just most comfortable just with the Mutalisk play because he feels like that counters whatever Deer can do. Probably because he thinks he's really good at base trades, but so far we've seen the base trades not be that effective.
All right, well, it looks like the Spire's almost done right now. We're seeing +1 finished up. The Phoenix is lifting up the Roaches at the front. I mean, with this push coming up, oh no, Deer gets caught out of position. How many sentries will fall? Way too many force fields wasted. They may as well be dead sentries, Nick.
Nice force fields there, but that was a lot for what he ended up picking off, you know?
And it looks like he's darting forward. He's picking off all the sentries again. Oh my God, the Immortal's gonna fall down.
The Roaches are coming in here with a surround. They take out the Immortal. Phoenix is picking up everything, but he's done a pretty good job considering the circumstances he was under. You know, when it comes to microing Phoenixes, sometimes you gotta wonder, do you pick up just one thing and have the Phoenix as attacker, or you pick up everything? And in that case, everything was the right answer, but I do think that Deer needs to turn around. Jaedong is charging forward right now.
Jaedong, he smells blood in the water. He knows that the sentries are down. Oh, second Immortal, is it gonna get picked off? It looks like maybe so. And yes, he does manage to pick it off. That means that this Roach Hydra influx, excuse me, the Roach Ling influx for Jaedong is gonna be much stronger than it typically would be. Deer is flooding with tons of Stalkers. His gateway count is not enormous yet, but 7 is enough to allow him to stay alive. The Mutalisk transition didn't get snapped off. This is the timing push that we saw Deer crush Soul Key with, and Jaedong is still holding strong.
Blink is about to finish, which is good because most of the Stalkers are what is the Protoss' army composition. We have Phoenixes just darting around the map. Still, I think Jaedong has shifted gears slightly here.
Yeah.
He's identified that, okay, this guy does want to push, and that's usually a good tell when you see people having Immortals outside their base attacking. You're like, okay, well, this guy really wants to do something with this.
How is Jaedong going to answer this? I don't even think he sees this push. He's getting Corruptors. There's no Colossus out right now. This is a dangerous misplay.
Okay, well, he sees the army now coming up here. The Roaches are gathering up. Let's see if the angling here is going to be good. Now, notice there are no sentries in here with this army, so it's really all about the blinks and making sure that that Immortal is not picked up. Speaking of which, it is.
Oh, he lifts his own
Immortal! Picked up his own Immortal!
The Corruptors target fire it and take it down. A nice grab for them. We're seeing the Stalker count at 15, Roaches at 23. I'm not so sure it's going to be enough, but the reinforcements from Deer continue to storm forward. We're seeing a second Immortal fall down. Jaedong flooding with Lings. Only 17 Roaches, but 17 Stalkers as well. Deer has an obscene amount of units. Jaedong's life is on the line.
There's Lings and Roaches gathering up here, though, and I think the combination of these Lings and Roaches now is going to actually push Deer back further and further. He's going to tear through a corruption on the Stalkers, and that was completely shut down there by Jaedong. And look at the supplies. That's really where the story is here, 94 to 177.
Jaedong preparing for the Mutilus transition. This is why he saves the larva, he saves the money, because when he sees the push coming up, he will not be met with the wrong mix of units. He will be able to flood with Ling Roach and shove back to the gates. Third base from Deer under huge pressure of being taken down right now.
You know, this is, I think, the best Mutilus transition we've seen yet here from Jaedong, too. This is the way to transition to Mutas where you probably are going to win no matter what, but we are talking about Deer here. The Roach is continuing to press forward right now, and he's going to get these sentries here.
Oh, no, again. Stalkers have to blink back, and it looks like the Cybernetics core is at half-life. Uh-oh, it's at a quarter, and see you later, Stalker production. Zealots are more than welcome.
Yeah, all he can do now, you're right, he's stuck making Zealots and Cannons, and he can regroup. Zerg is, what now, 167 with complete map control. Protoss doesn't have any real tech balance. It happens a lot with Protoss where they get stuck making Stalkers for a while.
Yes.
Because you can blink with them, so you can micro, so maybe you can come back, but then you have usually an unhealthy mixture of units that can't really be out on the field doing a lot of damage. I think Deer, though, is aware of how dire the situation is and that he can't really just lay down here and wait. So he is going to go ahead and regroup and probably try to attack up here again. He's got to remake those sentries. Jaedong's looking really primed to win this right now, but we'll see. I mean, Deer keeps doing the impossible over and over and over and over, so
constantly,
yeah, expect anything.
We're seeing 9 Infestors come out. Deer has been an unstoppable force in the Season 3 Korea, at the Season 3 Grand Finals, and the only person who seems to be able to hold up against him is Jaedong, but he needs to hold a final push. Infestors arrive. Good time warps. Good fungals. We're seeing Lings and Roaches coming from all sides. The Mothership core falls down. It's all up to the Corruptors to do the corruption and the bonus damage. We're seeing the Zealot Sentry Immortal get knocked down on the ramp. 100 supply to 180.
Jaedong's got this.
He's got it.
Yep.
Can't blink now. It looks like Jaedong's going to snap up every single one of those Stalkers. Immortal's going to fall. And what is Deer left to do?
Once again, Deer stuck with only Stalkers again. This is not a good sign. At all, considering how sick that unit comp is right there for Jaedong. Deer continuing to blink away, but with Lings here, you could just get in front of these Stalkers, and usually by the time the blink cooldown has reset, you're already in a lot of trouble.
Oh my God, this is the entire army for Protoss is here on this screen. 8 Stalkers, 7,
you know, it's
6,
it's
5,
possible
4.
that Deer is just going to tap out here. I mean,
there it is.
Yeah, there it is. GG. Sick. Going on to game number 5 here. It seems like during that short little break, he was really, Jaedong was able to shift gears properly. I think when we saw some of the other games, he was too focused on getting the Spire out a little bit too quick, especially in game number 3.
Oh, yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, Deer also, I think that was a game that was so different from the other 3 that we saw. I don't know, I wonder what's going on in his head.
I think that's really Jaedong asking himself, what is my core competency in this matchup? What lets me win? And it's that saving of larva. I mean, he's at 1600, he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the purpose in getting 8 Mutalisks anyways? I mean, you're not going to freak any Protoss out. A cannon can hold off 8 Mutalisks.
Well, you got to think of the matchup from the Zerg side is it's like a seesaw. You want, like, when the Protoss sees a seesaw to go up on one side, Zerg just goes and hops on the other side of the seesaw. And when I'm talking about that seesaw, I mean the tech tree.
Definitely.
You know, let's say it's all Lings and Roaches, and then bam, nothing but Mutas. And that's how you can throw the Protoss off. He was set up for that, but even then, he never had to get that deep into it before Jaedong shut him down.
Yeah.
So definitely the best game Jaedong's shown us so far.
And this is the exact timing that Deer has used to win against Sulky in crushing fashion on Frost. He exploits that timing, but Jaedong says, you try to trick me with a timing push, too bad. I got 40 larva, 2K in the bank, and I'm just going to hold the R button.
Yeah, just hold the R button down. That's all you need to do. Get those roaches out. We are going in game now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here at BlizzCon 2013. This is the WCS Grand Finals. And it is right now between Jaedong and Deer.
It is the final match of the night. It is the final match of this series, Game 5. Both of these players so desperately want to advance to the next round. So much to prove. In the bottom right-hand corner, the champion of WCS Season 3, who began the season with only 25 points, on his way to the finals. Can he advance here today from Seoul? It is Deer!
Whoa, that's Jaedong, but that was, I don't know how we're going to do this now. Over here, I guess we can do justice shot of Deer now. Over here in the upper left, he did it in StarCraft 1, being the best Zerg in Brood War. Can he do it here in this tournament in StarCraft 2? His ID is Jaedong.
Conservative play out of both players. Deer has done this tricky move before. With absolutely no scout, Deer is going to quickly try to hide a cannon pylon at the 3rd base. By hiding it there, it's very difficult to be spotted, and it's a really high success rate.
Wait. Okay, you didn't spot him. Wait. Wait. Nope.
Well, Jaedong has thrown down the Expo.
I think he saw that. I mean, that was like a quarter of a second, but he should know the probe's out there.
And it looks like Deer isn't going to do any tricky business now that he sees he's not up against a hatchery first. Nexus goes down from Deer. Both players with very conservative, safe openings.
So we got nice surround. Okay, does not get the probe.
Oh, would have been such a big
Yeah, that would have been really
boom.
bad. Depending on who you are, it would have been really bad if you're Deer. Big confidence boost if you're Jaedong.
You know, I'm kind of sifting through my memory banks. I don't think that Deer has lost a best-of-5 or longer series ever in WCS.
I don't think so.
He's lost a couple of best-of-3s, maybe even one or two.
I mean, that's why he's so good at planning. I mean, it gets more complicated in best-of-5s and best-of-7s because there's just more games against the same person, but on different maps, you know?
But when you look at Deer as a player, he tends to dominate. He gets that momentum going. His heart rate gets up, his eyes dilate, you know, and then he goes in for the kill and can crush players like Sulky 4-0. But Jaedong, we all know how confident he is in Game 5, high-intensity situations. But we don't know how well Deer performs there.
By the way, we just saw that he did not get that probe hidden in the bush, which is really just not good for Jaedong since he's sending all these lings around everywhere to just get confirmation that there is no probe out there. We'll see if that plays a bigger role here in just a little bit. The Cybernetics core is about 1/3 of the way complete. And that probe looks like it's just headed out again.
Going straight in. And of course, you know, it's what I'll call the obvious scout. He's gonna have a third, but you still gotta make sure of it.
Yeah, because if you get there and he doesn't, then it's like, oh God, you know, well, shift gears. I mean,
sentry, cannon,
exactly. Cut probes right now. But you know, even at the highest level, we see players do what might be considered not the best builds because it can catch people off guard.
Looks like that Stalker's going to be coming out with the +1. Oh, what is the Chrono Boost signaling to us? This is very weird.
Well, it looks like what he wants to do is clear up all the additional Lings and maybe even Overlords on the map. I mean, the Stalker, until Ling's speed is done, the Stalker really can't go contested unless it gets cornered. And I mean, since the Stalker is so fast, I think as long as Deer is babysitting it the entire time it's out, it should be fine.
Yeah. Jaedong seems to think that there's a gateway push coming because he's thrown down a Roach Warren before anything, before Lair, before even valuing speed. There's a very early Zergling speed too. And Jaedong's trying to scout in there. Oh, it is going to be an early gateway push. Jaedong just has star sense.
I was going to say, I thought he blocked that probe in there. Okay, so he's making these gateways here. Now the real question is the Overlord going to see it? In fact, wait, we get a shot. I believe there's an Overlord going into the second, or no, going away. So he has no vision of that.
Yes, but his Roach Warren is about to finish up. 5 roaches, 6 roaches. Jaedong knows exactly what's coming and he's preparing for it, but it's not going to be super aggressive from Deer. He's also getting a Twilight Council. Can Jaedong spot this and stop it?
He needs to get this pylon up, though. The probe is very important. That was so close.
Now, do you think Deer's going to commit here, or do you think he's going to pull back and try to do a round 2?
I think he's going to pull back. I think he's not going to do it now, just because the probe is what tips your hand there. He's probably, no, he's not. He's going to, well, he might hide this here and use it later, but I don't know if he's going to attack full-on right now.
Probe production is stopped for Deer, Nick.
No, he's going for a timing here. That's for sure. We're going to see exactly what kind of timing it is in just a little bit here. He's making the sentries now.
What? Why is he stopping? He's at 41. He's getting, oh my God. 3 more gateways.
Did he has
3 more gateways.
Gets, okay, he's doing a blink all in.
He's doing a 7-gate blink all in, and this push is going to be enough of a signal to Jaedong that something is wrong. He's getting 10 more drones. Oh my God. Jaedong needs to spot this pylon right away. He needs to spot it. If he does not, this game is Deer's. Oh no, 9 drones being produced.
Wait, he hasn't seen it yet. He hasn't seen it yet.
Oh.
One. All right, he sees it.
He must take it down immediately. The blink all-in is coming now. Where is his unit production? He needs to not make drones. He sees the mothership core. Where are the roaches? Where are the Lings? There's the roach speed. Burrow! He gets the burrow down. He's flooding roaches. He may very well sack his natural expansion here, Nick.
Yeah, he might have to. I mean, also note that we have, the probe never was killed, okay? So he can make that pylon, I believe. Yeah, there it is. He can make that right down there. The gates are all up and ready, so there's going to be a lot of stalkers coming up here. The rush can't commence for a little bit longer here, but yeah, it's all going to come down to control here. And he gets that same pylon up in that same place. And this is going to end either with Deer out-microing his opponent or with Jaedong barely surviving this attack. Deer cannot easily switch out of this unless he got to the point where he killed a bunch of Jaedong's drones and still was held off.
Oh, so Jaedong's got to be very careful here. Yeah. This is a super easy way to lose a critical half of your army, but with Burrow, I don't know if Deer's going to be able to break through this. There's the Overseer.
Burrow can hard counter this guy's pretty well just because they just get underground and then the Stalkers can't do anything. The regen kicks in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it could be really bad. I think Jaedong might be able to hold this. It'll depend on how the damage output, the control here. And this is starting up.
This is it. He's burrowed. And now, what can Deer do? What can Deer do? Roaches, Lings, everything is going to be assaulted. And there it is! The unburrow! But the blink away in a heartbeat. The Stalkers immediately pull out, but the sentries have fallen. Jaedong, who was down 1-2, might have been able to pull this back with this incredible burrow play.
That was absolutely brilliant. The sentries were vaporized the moment they popped up. He still does have, Deer does have a good amount of Stalkers, but the Lings and Roaches are closing in. The pylon's getting cornered now. He can't even really blink anywhere safe at this point in time. He's completely surrounded.
Utter decimation of this push. Jaedong reading Deer like a book. The star senses with Jaedong when everything's on the line. Deer now plummeted down.
so sick. Jaedong did it. He set up the booby trap, and it worked. Jaedong is your winner for today's final WCS Global Final for today. We're going to throw it to DJ Weed. Marcus, take it away.
Amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing.
Unreal.
Let's talk about that last game. Jaedong advances. He'll be playing in the semifinals. Maru, an unbelievable game, all coming down. You know, we saw it, and you guys were talking about the upgrades as he made the front and as he came back. We saw Burrow come in. We knew Roach speed was going down. It was like Jaedong saw that move happening 2-3 minutes before
it was
perfection,
perfection, man. It was absolute perfection. Jaedong, we live